Thank you for tuning in to this week's Just Ball Things. If you're catching us on the podcast, remember to give us a rating and review. And now, on with the show.
Shut up and sit down.
Free agency has kicked off, and what a start it has been. We will be recapping every single deal that has happened so far, and going in detail with a few of our favourites, including how does LeBron's change affect the entirety of the NBA? Is Austin Rivers the missing piece the Wizards needed? And how will DeAndre Jordan fare at the Mavs? So shut up, sit down, because JBT is about to begin. Good morning, afternoon, or evening from wherever you're listening across the world. Welcome to this off-season edition of JBT. My name is Nick Busink, and I have just seemed to have woken up from a deep slumber. Menine.
What do you mean?
M9, M8, Shamalama Ding Dong.
What are you talking about?
This is Jack Manuel, by the way, in the
me.
flesh.
Yeah.
He's back in
Touching
Melbourne.
Me. Touching me. Don't touch me.
Why are we doing a podcast?
Well,
Like I am supposed to be in deep stasis before the next season. Why have you woken me up?
Well, there's some LeBron things that are going on. There's lots of new signings. There's content aplenty on otgbasketball.com. I've been on about 1 million pods. I was literally.
So you've been busy.
I've been busy as hell, man. I recorded 2 podcasts today alone. So Brooklyn Buzz and the NBA Outlet. Make sure you subscribe to that and ours on iTunes and following us on Blog Talk Radio. So plenty of stuff happening. Free agency is wild, and it's going to get wilder now that LeBron James has announced his team of choice being the Los Angeles Lakers. Nick, the fun fact for today before we get on to some basketball is that I hit a tennis ball into your nether regions today.
You did. I completely misjudged that ball.
Yeah,
after attempting to do it to you for that whole time.
Yeah.
Like,
I had some. I wasn't too bad. I mean,
you're better than I thought you were. Like when I started us with mini tennis, because that's sort of mini tennis is the best way to get your fundamentals up. So.
Right.
Where you just play inside the service lines.
Yeah, mate, got ya.
So you work on your footwork, and you really have to curve up on your shots and get a lot of top spin to actually get it in. And you were fine. You were good. So I'm like, screw it, take a baseline, and then we had some good rallies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll play probably a couple more times before I'm gone. I've got to keep working on that backhand.
Your backhand is atrocious.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
There was a couple of times.
There is no way around.
There was a couple of times I got it, but I'm very happy with my forehand. I was actually pretty happy with my serve as well. Like for the most part, it's improving. That's one thing that I'm happy about. Like I've got a form for a serve, and that's more than some people say. But we are not a tennis podcast. We might be. Who knows? The off season could bring
balls. This is just ball things. There are a lot of balls.
Tennis balls. We had 4 of them today.
It's just we can't be like a hockey podcast.
No, we can't be
all caps, Washington Caps.
Yes, I don't go the Rangers. I kind of go for the Rangers.
The Oilers.
Yes, I don't know who they are. They're not a basketball team. Let's speak about some basketball. Busy Manuel and other things.
All right, mate. I've just woken up.
Yeah,
I am. I've woken up from a. When did the NBA season end?
June 12 or so.
I've been in a 1-month coma. That's
a long time, mate.
What's happened?
Well, LeBron James is now on the Los Angeles Lakers.
Okay,
and
start from the start, mate. What's a LeBron?
A LeBron James is a goat. It is a goat.
Oh.
Well, I'm sure if Adrian goat-like creature. If don't at me at the JBT, jbtpodcast@gmail.com if you want to have a fight with me about that one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, LeBron James has signed with the Los Angeles Lakers. Free agency has gone wild. Nick, LeBron James obviously busy man well. If you don't know by now, just listen to a previous podcast. LeBron James automatically makes the Lakers a top 3 team in the West as their current iteration.
Nah. Nah.
So number 1 and 2, obviously the Warriors and the
Well,
Rockets.
mate, I've been under a rock. As far as I know, they've got
Kyle Kuzma, Lonzo Ball,
never lost.
never lost.
Yeah, as far as I know, they don't have. I don't know, just picking a random name, Lance Stevenson.
They do have Lance Stevenson.
Well, what are the chances of that?
They have a JaVale McGee too, as well.
They do. They're actually like.
It's weird.
It's all the dominoes have sort of fallen in LA.
But both of those aren't going to have any sort of cap holds because JaVale's...
They're both on mins.
Yeah, Lance is on...
Oh, no, Lance isn't on a min.
A rim-level exception or a mid-level exception.
Rim.
Yes, Nick. That's how things are referred to in money terms in the NBA.
But how... so LeBron,
Top
he would have signed for a 1-year deal?
4-year, $153 million deal.
We're in the money.
We're dancing to that, Nick.
So I mean, we can discuss whether it makes him a top 3 team. I mean, this is
flowy.
It's fluid. Why 4 years? I mean, this is a guy who lives on his 1-year contracts.
Yeah, so I was on the outlet today with Corey Waldron, 8K Wall Hoops, and at OTG Nick Fay. We had a massive... Funnily enough, we recorded our free agency pod for the outlet, and then 10 minutes later, we had to re-record, add an extra episode for 20 minutes, a bonus episode on the whole LeBron news, which was absolutely insane. Literally real time as it was happening. So I mentioned on that the 4-year thing. Obviously, LeBron, before he indicated his intentions to go to the Lakers in free agency, the sort of number 1 priority that was sort of he said and was making the rounds is that he wanted to do the best decision for his family. And then this I think is a clear indicator of that. Obviously Cleveland was still somewhat thought of. I was maybe somewhat leaning towards him going back to Cleveland for that reason alone. But moving to LA, he's got the 2 mansions out there. He had a really good meeting with Magic Johnson, as Ramona Shelburne reported. his sons, his daughter, as well as Savannah. They're going to be living their best life out in LA, and I think that this is. It's a revolution. I remember seeing the trending bar on Twitter, how it says how many tweets. There was 1.2 million tweets about LeBron. 1.2
He's a
million
man who
tweets.
generates a lot of gravity.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I think they made a comparison to KD in 2016 and LeBron back in 2014, and I think LeBron had 4 times as many tweets per hour. It's ridiculous. So yeah, that was the reason why. The funny thing for me, I was mentioning this to my dad and the boys off wax. He's on a lesser deal than Chris Paul. I said this and I mentioned it ad nauseum. He is the best basketballer in the game. That's you can argue about maybe KD. But generally, the best person at their job gets paid the most. You're the best doctor, you're the best engineer, you're the best whatever. You get paid the most amount of money for your services. LeBron James is the best basketball player. KD is probably the second best basketball player. Yet they're not the 2 highest paid players in the game right now. John Wall next year is going to be getting paid more than these 2. It's just wild to me.
In an ideal world, it's how it works, but every workplace has their pay
schemes.
Even just
and
pay
salary
discrepancies.
caps, obviously.
You get cornholed to a lesser company. You're not going to be paid as much as someone else who you may have a similar or greater capacity to do work, but it really just depends on where you're situated. What's interesting to me this 4 years, Pelinka and Magic has clearly voiced some sort of 4-year deal with these guys.
Yeah,
and even though PG fell through, which we'll get through later.
Yeah.
Kawhi is looking
on the edge.
It's shaky.
Maybe by the time that this podcast's out tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We'll see what happens in next week's episode. We'll probably have plenty to report.
It's been a crazy first day, but they've obviously voiced if they don't get anything this year, they've obviously voiced some sort of plan going forward.
Yeah.
So these guys are free agents. We've discussed with back deal shenanigans.
Yeah.
Backdoor shenanigans.
Magic Johnson got the $500,000 tampering in relation to Paul George last year, and he didn't even get him. So yeah, you make a good point there, Nick. The fact that if they can't get Kawhi Leonard, I was listening to a lot of podcasts, obviously doing my research before jumping on. Do the Lakers right now throw everything they can to get Kawhi Leonard in a trade? Because Luol Deng is obviously the number that sort of makes the difference. Do they stretch him? Do they send him to another team for assets? But if they're trading him straight up without Luol Deng in the situation, they would need to give up basically every one of their young assets, like Ingram, Lonzo, and others, or Hart or Kuzma. So you would be left with basically Hart or Kuzma, and you lose Lonzo, you lose Ingram, two of your picks that you've developed. And at the same time, you could do that, and you probably have to attach, some future picks possibly as well. But it's a big price to give up for a guy that you could probably get in next year's free agency as well. Kawhi's, there's been rumors that he's threatened to sit out a whole season if he's not sent to the Lakers. There's been rumors of the Sixers. Those are the two teams making the rounds right now. It's going to be fascinating to see where he lands. I made the point that, I don't think it's necessarily 100% irreparable, the relationship with San Antonio right now. It's certainly teetering. I'm in a minority about this.
You are in a very small minority.
Because Tony Parker seems to be, for me, the guy that broke the straw off the camel's back. His comments about Kawhi Leonard saying, well, I came back from my quad injury.
That's right, yeah.
So it's just like, Tony Parker's an unrestricted free agent. If you're R.C. Buford or Greg Popovich, you're just like, Tony, get your shitty French rapping ass out of here. We want to keep Kawhi Leonard, one of the best 2-3 best players in the game, one of the best wing defenders of all time, an MVP candidate when he's healthy. So yeah, that's just me. We'll certainly be watching this space, but top two teams who is the third best team then in the West? Last year was the Trailblazers. I think that they're falling. I think that they could teeter on the edge.
Well, it's going to be a similar
Jazz.
It's going to be a similar story with Pelicans if Boogie resigns. That being said, when Boogie was out, they were still
better.
Great, yeah,
better.
It's going to be a similar season. It's going to be a similar season to last season. I think you'll get the two outliers in the Rockets and the Warriors. I don't think much will change between those.
Yeah.
That being said, Rockets have gone through some changes with Clint Capella potentially moving as well.
Yeah.
So take that lightheartedly, but
yes.
Let's assume that they don't change. That third spot, they could definitely be it.
Yeah.
They could, because there was not much separating, 8 to 3.
And this team right now,
it could be T-Wolves for all we know.
Absolutely. It could be any of those teams. Denver could make that jump finally. Offensively, they've certainly got the talent.
New management as well, so it could
Yeah,
happen.
there's plenty of things that could happen. But in terms of, before we move on to the Eastern Conference ramifications, is the team that LeBron is with right now, assuming that Julius Randle is there, Ingram, Lonzo, Kuzma, is this team better than last year's Cleveland team that he's with? I would say yes. That young talent is insane.
On paper,
Brook Lopez,
you look at
Channing Frye.
Get off Brook Lopez.
Mate, I'm just saying.
Get off Brook Lopez.
He's a serviceable NBA center in today's league.
On paper, you take me back last year. Take me back a year ago, and you tell me whether this team sounds bad. LeBron James, Kevin Love, J.R. Smith, Tristan Korver.
Yeah. They've won a championship.
That's a great team.
They've won a championship with that team adding in Kyrie Irving, obviously.
A year, it's amazing. Like, J.R. stock, almost at zero right now.
Yeah. I don't know what... You'd have to get a Hennessy.
So we say, compared to the Cavs right now, the only one who really showed was Love. Love showed his stuff, and Korver.
And Thompson occasionally got a rebound.
Yeah. But if we're getting consistent, because consistency was a big thing with the Cavs, because when LeBron doesn't play, who does?
Yeah.
If we can get consistent and very serviceable numbers for all of these young guys, then a better team. But that could easily not happen, because a year ago we were saying that Cavs were going to make it, ease their way to another
Warriors Cavs
conference.
5.
Yeah, exactly. Warriors Cavs 4 even last season.
4 last year, yeah.
It was not the season that it was.
Yeah, and funnily enough,
they changed their team. Isaiah Thomas came in.
And funnily enough, Isaiah Thomas is now in the Lakers. Funnily enough, that trade essentially gave the Lakers not necessarily the leverage, but the capacity to make the amount of room that they could, lure LeBron James, get rid of guys like Jordan Clarkson. Larry Nance would have been a nice piece, but they also got a number one pick in that a first round pick in that deal too. And obviously, Isaiah as well. I don't think he's going to probably kick around, but he's still there. But Nick, in terms of Eastern Conference ramifications, the Eastern Conference is as wide open as it's ever been. For the first time in 8 years, an Eastern Conference team is going to be won by a person not named LeBron James in it. It's insane. It's almost a decade.
It's... Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And LeBron's been in the East his entire life, so it's not like he's always been an obstacle to overcome.
16.
And now what's the biggest obstacle in the East? It's Boston.
It's Boston. If the Sixers could somehow get Kawhi, that changes things. But right now...
But it is definitely... Because no one in the NBA... in the East, has that mental hold on anyone else. No one has that yet.
No.
So all the games will be tight, all the games will be close, and you're not thinking that, this superstar is going to just rain havoc and be like, okay, well, he's going to win it off his own back.
Yeah.
There's no one in the East now.
Giannis, in terms of, there was a stat the other day, today, someone put out the fact that players that have made all NBA teams, and all of in the past, I think, decade, all of them were Western Conference players like LeBron, CP3, Jimmy Butler, the rest. The only player to make an all NBA team in the Eastern Conference that's still playing was Joakim Noah. And then Dwight Howard and Dwayne Wade were in there as well if they're still, in the Eastern Conference going forward. But that's insane. Obviously, right now, your three best players, Joel Embiid, Kyrie Irving, Giannis. Those are probably... You can probably chuck them around, juggle them around. Joel Embiid has huge potential. Kyrie Irving at his best is one of the most dazzling offensive guards. And Giannis is MVP level. But, the Bucks have got plenty of work to do there. But for me, it is as wide open as it's ever been. This is a fact. But for me, the fascinating thing as well is who takes Cleveland's spot in the playoffs, because assuming that they blow it up, they might trade Kevin Love, who knows where he goes, or they keep him. I think if they keep in this borderline playoff, but I think, teams like the Pistons, Charlotte, if Kemba stays there, I saw someone on Twitter, and this was not me, this was actually a fellow OTG writer, Evan Dial, thinks that the Pistons or the Nets even have a shot. This wasn't me, Nick. Don't look at me like that. Close your eyes. Don't look at me. But it's that wide open that we're.
It's not crazy.
It's not insane. It's crazy. It's not like certifiably insane. I think it's crazy the fact that we are bringing up the Nets in even remote playoff conversations makes me ecstatic. It's insane.
You guys got screwed with injury last season.
Yeah,
you put together a full season. There's no reason why you can't snag that 8th spot.
Yeah.
From the Wizards.
Yeah. I'm sure your Wizards will still be around there. You've got the potential to be a 3 seed if John Wall stays healthy.
How many times have I heard that? I've heard that for about 5 seasons now.
Well, maybe you pick up Alex Len, Nick, in free agency, or Dwight Howard, do a sign and trade for Boogie. Who knows? But nice. Who do you think takes that spot if Cleveland do go out? Pistons, Charlotte, Nets?
Pistons would be interesting with new management managing... what's his face?
Dwayne Casey?
Oh, yes, it is Dwayne Casey.
Yeah. Coach of the year.
Managing Blake. They could take a step. They took a step. They really took a step this year. Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
Andre Drummond, Reggie Jackson. He was a bit injured.
Reggie Jackson was quite injured.
He was a bit injured this year.
But
they were... Well, more Andre Drummond. His improvement this year was amazing.
Yeah.
Free throws were obviously the massive part of that.
Passing game, I like.
Yeah, exactly. Well. He's a great passer. And Blake is obviously a dynamic scorer himself.
Yeah.
So they can make some ruffle. They can make some rustling, some noise,
ruffle some feathers.
There
we go.
I'm confusing my phrases.
You haven't been on podcasts enough lately, Nick. You're out of practice, mate.
My words don't speak right.
Yes. You fail English. That's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to quickly go through all the deals that have been made, guys. Obviously, There are plenty. So, if you want to skip forward 30 seconds, maybe 15, I'll try and make it really quick. So, starting with...
You're on the clock, Jack.
All right.
Go.
JaVale McGee, $2.4 million with the Lakers. Alfred Payton has moved to the New Orleans Pelicans. Len Stevenson has moved from the Pacers to the Lakers. Has only a 1-year deal with the Knicks. KCP has re-signed a Clutch Sports, Clutch Management mate of LeBron. Re-signed with the Lakers. LeBron James, obviously, we mentioned. Glenn Robertson III has moved from the Pacers to the Pistons. Luke Cornett's re-signed with the Knicks. Fred VanVleet has re-signed with the Raptors. Nick Stauskas has moved from the Nets to the Blazers. Gerald Green's re-signed with the Rockets. Marco Bellinelli has moved from the Sixers back to the Spurs. Omri Caspi from the Warriors to the Grizzlies. Derrick Rose re-signed. I'm sure plenty of Derrick Rose stands will be happy about that. Re-signed with the Timberwolves. Ed Davis to my boys in the Nets. Very, very underrated signing there. Trevor Ariza in a very shock signing, moving to the Phoenix Suns on a 1-year deal. Ersan Ilyasova, yeah, wow, indeed, mate. Ersan Ilyasova moved from the 76ers to the Bucks on a bit of an elevated 3-year, $22 million deal. Jeremy Grant, 3 years, $27 million for the OKC Thunder, re-signing there. Paul George, one of the first dominoes to drop. His barber, let it be known. 4 years, $137 million deal. Bainesy sticking around in Boston for a nice little deal for them. DeAndre has finally moved to Dallas 3 years later after that whole saga on a 1-year deal, which I'm not really sure about. Chris Paul, 4 years, $160 million deal. Doug McBuckets, Cable Hoops, hated that one to the Pacers. Joe Harris, my boy, who I love more than life itself, sticking around with my Nets. Nikola Jokic is said to be offered the max 5-year, $147 million deal. Rudy Gay, with re-upped in San Antonio. Will Barton has re-upped in Denver for 4 years. KD's got that 1+1. Aaron Gordon has, who was a big sort of target out there, has re-upped in Orlando for a 4-year, $84 million deal. And Salah Mejri of the Mavericks has re-upped on the minimum. How long was that?
It was like a minute.
Damn.
That wasn't actually timing. It was like a minute and maybe 20. I'd be willing to say minute 20.
Just fast forward me. Any of those stick out for you, mate, before we move on?
I mean, the big names, DeAndre to the Mavs is nice. They got Doncic, didn't they?
Yeah.
I was in Bali during the draft.
Yeah.
And I was just looking on my phone for all the updates, but I didn't actually watch it. Dennis Smith Jr. as well with the Mavs. He
nice.
didn't actually. But yeah, that team... That team's going to be not bad.
Yeah, they could push for
Dirk
a spot.
sticking around for hopefully another 10 years.
He's ageless. Ageless wonder Dirk Nowitzki.
But yeah, I mean, the big names there. I mean, a year, $24 million, it's a bit to pay.
Yeah.
But I think of it as more in an investment.
Well, that's the deal he was going to sign with the Clippers, and we're going to get to abusing Manuel about it. Obviously, plenty of fans. Luke Magri gave his thoughts to us off wax. He was going to be on the pod to sort of give his thoughts. But the one that stand out for me, obviously, the Paul George deal. This isn't in our visit Manuel, but Nick, did Paul George make the right decision in going back to OKC? With seeing if you can join LeBron and Kawhi Leonard, that is
time will tell.
That's like super duper team. Like it's, I mean, I understand the relationship with Russ and maybe Steven Adams as well. That party with Nas looked banging. I can't believe I didn't get the invite. Surely we've got media accreditations of some sort. It was just an odd decision by Paul George. I'm not sure. There were talks. It was basically fait accompli that he was gone, absolutely gone from the Pacers last year, and there was just
to the point where your brother said he would eat his own shoe
Did you see it?
I saw the poll.
Yes.
I saw the poll.
So apparently, my brother now has to eat. Is it a heel or a boot?
I think of the heel one.
The heel one. Yeah. It had about 40 or 50 votes. I think it's ongoing. So, Chaz Wozzles, mate. Get some peri peri sauce out, mate. Get your seasonings going. Maybe some Worcestershire sauce. We'll buy you some high heels. Maybe a nice red one for you. Whatever goes down well for you, bud. But yeah, it's going to be... I don't understand why Paul George didn't go to the Lakers. For me, it seemed highly likely. But then, yeah, his barber's just like, nah. He's basically going to... Thunder fans, you're going to like this. So... For me, the wrong decision. Time will tell. At the end of the day, OKC with Andre Roberson, Jeremy Grant, they've got their core with Steven Adams as well. Melo's still there. Wonder if he gets bought out or traded if possible. They're a tax team, but it's going to be interesting to see how their season goes.
Well, in terms of the right or wrong decision, time will tell. Obviously, it's sort of the cop-out answer, isn't it? But
Yeah.
wrong
decision,
Is Paul? Is it the wrong decision? Is Paul George going to get the attention that he I guess wants in LA? No. Granted, he'll be going home. I mean, I'm sure that would be a major plus. He's obviously happy with his life in OKC. Fair enough to him.
Yeah.
But if he's not going to be enjoying playing basketball with LeBron James, who
they've got a decent relationship. They've battled, back in those. Remember those Pacer Heat battles?
Yeah, but I mean, on the court and playing with them, against and playing with two completely different things.
Yeah.
If he goes and Kawhi goes, he suddenly becomes a third player.
Yeah, but at the same,
and that's not taking away from Paul George. He's a great player, but he is not. I mean, 2 years ago, how he came back from his injury, we both picked him for MVP.
Yeah, we did. I think it was my second.
He has very much
plateaued.
Yes.
Yeah, we
and
said
I
that.
think that this is his peak, and that's fine.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
Top 20 player. Probably.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Very good defensive player.
Yes, very good defensive player.
Yeah.
Would he be happy being... Because his stats will go down if he goes to LA.
But at the same time, LeBron is in the twilight of his career. As much as age-wise, he's defying... he's literally defying time itself. But, this 4-year deal for LeBron, you add in, Paul George, maybe he does a 1+1 to make the sort of...
I mean, that last year is a player option anyway.
There are always player options when it comes to the superstars anyway. It's very rare that it becomes a team option. So, yeah, for me, you make all the right points about, Paul George, in the right sort of scenario. What does he want? He has a nice relationship with Russ. I think that's probably...
Yes, well, that would be the main thing. He's having fun playing in OKC, and it's... Like, as much as it is his career, he's still getting paid, and he's having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have thought that LeBron would be an easier person to play with than Russ, just from what I've seen on the court.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know the intricacies
Mechanics.
of the intricacies of the play, but maybe he enjoys being the number 2 behind Russ.
They could be that. We talked about
they could be that 1-2 punch.
Yeah,
with Adams as well.
Yeah, we talked about who's that third team. I'm pretty sure it was remiss of us not to mention OKC. At their best when healthy.
You give me a healthy Roberson as well on that
Best
team.
defensive team, weren't they? With him.
Thereabouts. I think Adams could be better at the center position, but their wing defense is incredible, and that's what you need.
Yeah,
these days you need wing defense.
Obviously, Carmelo Anthony, downgrades that wing defense somewhat, but yeah, Jeremy Grant, Patrick Patterson, if he gets at least somewhat capable minutes from him, but
then your Roberson, your Roberson's and your Paul George.
Robeson's injury forced Paul George to become much more of an on-ball defender, and he is a better off-ball defender. Whereas Roberson could sort of focus his time on James Harden, LeBron, or whatever.
He's a mongrel.
He is, and he's shooting his shot with Rachel Demeter. Well done to him, dating someone who is a better shooter than him. But Nicholas, you get to talk about your Wizards again.
Woo!
Austin Rivers automatically makes your Wizards a top 3 contender in the East. Downriver, Nick. Wizards River. # Wizard River.
Unless this man can play center.
He could play.
He's a point guard. Or
he's a combo guard. Is he gonna come? He'll have to come off the bench, surely.
Yeah, he will, 100%, and that's what we've been looking for. I initially did what all Wizards fans did, I think, because the reaction to this was heated, because Austin Rivers has a certain reputation in the league,
slightly,
and it is that he is a complete spud.
Yes.
Marcin Gortat's reputation,
similar.
He's. Is he?
Austin? Well,
I mean, you're looking from the outside. I don't think Wizards fan thought he was a complete spud. They thought he was pretty bad and a liability, but not a complete spud.
For me, this deal works decent enough for both parties.
I mean, having time to think about it, I love it for the Wizards. We've been looking for that backup guard for what seems like bloody 5 years.
Come on, mate. Poor Sado.
Yeah, I know.
Thomas Satoransky, what a season from him.
He just doesn't get
buckets.
No, he gets buckets.
Not as much as Austin.
He just, yeah. He doesn't get opportunity.
Yeah.
He doesn't get opportunity to get buckets. But when he gets given that opportunity, like in the couple of games, he shows up.
Where Wall was out.
When Wall was out, man.
Brooks is coaching, mate. I think that's one thing that needs to be looked at.
Ernie's management.
Yeah.
Goes higher than Brooks.
It's probably both.
People want his head. Like Wizards forums are. Yeah, they're not a nice place.
Him and Neil O'Shea will probably be on the top of that list.
Let the streets run with his blood.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna go. Look, I don't think he automatically makes. So this is clearly an alternative fact.
Yes.
But he can certainly help.
Does it even make us better? We have to play Mahimni at the center, and then if we're playing small ball, well, we're playing small ball anyway. But Markeith at the 5.
Yeah,
which we can do.
Yes, unless you get rumors are Alex Len, Nerlens Noel, Dwight Howard's still available. Who would you want out of those guys?
That small. I'll tell you what. The starting lineup without Marcin gets worse, but the small ball lineup gets better because we need to play an extra guard.
Yeah, Oubre.
And that extra guard. Oh yeah, we get
extra
Oubre.
wing. But like
if he improves his 3-point shooting again, like
but like of those free agents that are available, if you can plug in one at this,
say them again. It was
Noel,
not Len, please.
Alex,
no,
Alex,
it's
and
so.
Dwight
has expressed his interest in Golden State, I think.
Yeah, and he's also a locker room cancer.
I'd love Dwight.
He like when I was doing the buzz with Nick, and we did some podcasts about him signing with the Nets before he's getting bought out. I'm like, okay, it's fine for a season. He's an insane rebounder, but his cohesion in the locker room, that's one thing the Wizards certainly didn't have and haven't had for the past few years. And Marcin Gortat was a reason of that.
Yeah.
And Dwight sort of brings the same sort of mentality in that sense. But rank them 1, 2, 3. Howard, Len, Noel. As a Wizards fan, who you want?
I mean, what has he been let go from the Blazers, or am I thinking of someone else?
Who? Alex
Noel.
Mavericks. He's an unrestricted free agent.
Okay, right. Who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Nurkic.
Yes.
Yeah. Same. I'm very out of
Bosnians.
The loop. Yeah. Ranking them 1 to 3 is, I think it's pretty easy. Yeah. I mean, Howard, Noel, and Howard top and Noel.
I would
second.
personally go Noel Howard. But that's just me because I think Noel has insane upside in terms of defensively.
Yeah, how many times have they said that though?
Yeah,
how many years?
Yeah, I think I wrote an article about him a while ago. And
should we still take Okafor?
Yeah, well, when your most known attribute most known moment for the season is eating a hot dog at halftime, not the best. But
I mean, Dwight. I mean, we thought Marcin Gortat and pick and roll was monstrous. Can you imagine Dwight Howard?
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, he wants post ups. He wants to be fed in the post, and he is a horrible post offensive player. Like watching him go to work in the post is just disgusting. When he actually does screen, like you look at his frame,
he is monstrous.
He is Superman for a reason. His shoulders are bigger.
His shoulders look photoshopped. You look at him, and I'm just like, those shoulders are so spherical.
Yes.
They're perfect spheres just placed on top of
He
his...
looks like a rugby player. It's insane. But
like a cloud.
Yes, it's insane. It's mesmerizing, and the fact that he eats like candy nonstop. Apparently, like he's obsessed with Skittles and shit. Yeah, like the man is a genetic marvel. Good luck to him, and I wish I had those genes because I like my Skittles.
I'd love to see that pick and roll combo. Anyway,
yeah,
Austin Rivers. Not a top 3 team. No one off the bench can make you a top 3 team unless you are already a top 3 team.
Lou Williams, maybe.
Even if we signed Lou Williams, are we a top 3 team? We scraped playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, but the year before, it's basically the same thing. You're basically top 3 then. But DeAndre Jordan leaving the Clippers to sign with Dallas for literally the same deal was a bit of a dick move. I said
a dick move.
I said it because he literally opted out, and he opted out of his $24.1 million.
Wasn't quite a dick move though. He wanted to go.
Yeah, I mean, but this in the sense that
the money wouldn't matter.
In comparison, because Chris Paul opted in, allowing the Clippers to make a trade and get assets in return. Whereas DeAndre could have done the same thing. But apparently what I read, Mark Stein and other people report, is that the Mavericks weren't willing to part with any sort of assets, any sort of draft assets and such. So they're just like, look, all right, fine, opt out.
I mean, they don't really need him. the Mavs. I mean, it was more of just a bonus.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, for me, I'm going to give this Twitter because it is a little bit of a dick move. It's part of the reason why I put it there. But again, it's not really DeAndre's fault. The dickishness. It's more of like the negotiation skills were dickish between the two parties. I feel like you're going to call this pod dickish or dickishness or something.
I hadn't even thought of the pod name.
Yes.
Maybe I'll call it pod name.
Here we go. Pod name.
Lamp.
You just need to like look at stuff.
I love Lamp.
I love... I wish we had a video podcast because then I could do like the Brick Tamlin when he's like got the banana in his hand and he's just like... and look at Brick. He's up. He's hysterical and he's just like... He's got the banana.
Yeah.
Like, we got to tweet that out or some shit.
GIFs are an amazing thing.
They are. They really are. Nick, KD's re-signing with the Warriors means he could still be on the way out following next season. 1+1. Klay Thompson set to earn possibly a max of sorts.
Quick maths.
Quick max.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, like it's not set in stone. That KD returned in 2019,
nothing set in stone.
2020.
I mean, he's not exactly loyal.
These
so
bros ain't loyal, as Chris Breezy.
That being said, he's only been to 2 teams. I mean, is LeBron loyal? I mean, there's no loyalty in your career.
He wants the rings.
There shouldn't be, especially in a career like basketball.
Yeah,
when you can literally see what's happening on the other side and how much you could be like. It's very transparent.
Yeah.
Everyone's wages are just right there. I can Google them.
Yep.
No other industry in the world can I Google someone's wage.
Pretty much.
Except for every international sport
and government jobs to an extent.
That's true. Yes. Forgot where I was going with this.
KD.
It was never a possibility that he was going to stay there for the rest of his career, and whoever thought that was incredibly naive. Yeah. Whenever this toll dries up, he's gonna. That's very sexual.
It is.
He's gonna find a new moist one.
Yeah, where the green
Jack, moist one.
Moist one. All right. Yeah. Okay. You've got that. You got that in your head. I feel like we just every like 3 episodes is like sexual innuendo for our like. The names of our episodes. Nick, stop writing it down. But yeah, look, for me, I think that we're going to go through this whole kerfuffle. Yeah, I'll go with kerfuffle. With this whole kerfuffle again around KD, because, he could go with LeBron James to the Lakers. Stephen A. Smith put out that fake news.
Definitely.
Who knows? That'd be insane. KD and LeBron on the same team, taking on Steph.
It would only be if he wasn't getting championships.
And look,
literally, that's the only reason he'd move. If, say, Clay's a free agent next year?
Yeah.
They trade Clay.
Maybe.
For example.
Yeah.
They don't trade.
Let
Clay
him
leaves.
Exercise his options.
And he gets paid at a different team. For example, just say he wants to get paid.
Is he in the money, Nicholas?
And he would be.
We're in the money.
He would definitely be in the money if he moves to a different squad. They finish 3rd. They finished behind the Lakers.
Wow, Sereno.
Next year, not this year. Next year. So after Clay leaves, they finish that season. They finish behind the Lakers. Maybe he moves.
Yeah,
maybe he moves.
It's. I mean,
if they get 1 title or no titles in the next 2 years, who knows? An East team might win it for once.
Boston,
maybe
Boston. Who knows? They're certainly
Boston and Philly.
Yeah.
Like, you never know. If they don't win a title in this 2 years, I think he is gone.
Wow! Bang! Heard it here first.
Over to the East.
Go to Washington.
Philly.
Go to Washington.
Oh, yes!
Finally.
Come home, Kevin.
You would have to get rid of freaking Otto Porter for that.
Get rid of everyone. He can 1v5.
Nick, LaVar Ball never lost.
Never lost.
Caused Lonzo's knee injury, the torn meniscus. Conspiracy theories.
As much as I think this is... As much as this sounds like a conspiracy theory. Yeah.
Yes.
Words. I think there's some morsel of truth to it.
How?
He does overwork his kids,
gym wise, and too much weights and not enough sort of.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of the only NBA, I guess you call him trainers. We'll call him an NBA trainer.
For lack of a better word.
Yeah, that is so heavy on his sprints and his weights, and he overworks his kids off and during the season.
Never lost.
And then they're expected to play 82 games as well.
Yeah, I mean...
His rationale is right. It's that if he does the sprints and plays 82 games, then he'll be able to play those 82 games easier. Sure.
If it tears your meniscus, though.
I mean, there's only so much stress the human body can take.
Yeah, and I mean, he's an idiot. I don't take anything LaVar Ball does with any credence.
I mean, he didn't actually go in and bloody with a hacksaw and tear his...
What I imagine is... Remember the Simpsons episode where Mo is like the robber and he's trying, and the Pin Pals episode, and he's going to like with the crowbar to try and injure Mr. Burns, but he actually makes him better. But it's obviously the opposite effect. The conspiracy theory underlying this is that people...
So he Tonya Harding'd her.
Yes, I mean, but in that sense, because Lonzo Ball is being brought up in all these trade rumors to go to San Antonio, and if he is injured, then he's less of a lucrative, coveted asset. So then he would stay in Los Angeles. But I mean, it's going to be an insane season in Los Angeles. You got on the same team JaVale McGee, Lance Stevenson, Lonzo and LaVar, and LeBron James. Like, you could literally have... We could do whole podcasts just about the Lakers. And we spent plenty of time at the start, and, it's only just begun. But, what are we going to next? We're going to Zach LaVine. Quickly, he should sign the reported $14 to $16 million per year contract on offer from the Bulls. Tidbit, when this was reported by Nick Friedel, he responded with a laughing emoji to that specific tweet. So he wants to be in the...
We're in the money.
We're doing a little dance every time we hear that.
And you should be too. We would be disappointed, listeners, if you're not.
We need to count them in.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
We're in the money.
Jazz hands.
Jazz hands. Ooh.
Jazz hands.
I've got a soundbite for everything.
Can't believe you actually got that in there. Nick, should he sign this deal, or does he deserve more? Aaron Gordon, 4 years, $84 million deal for him. Is that what he should be looking for?
I mean, don't compare the dunk contests, mate. Aaron Gordon has not. Aaron Gordon has not torn his ACL.
True.
For such a guy who relies on his athleticism. I mean, he's not the most finessed player in the league.
Decent 3-point shooter though.
I think that he needs to temper his expectations on deals.
Yeah.
It's just. If the Bulls offer him and he's happy with the Bulls, then sign it. I mean, it comes down to whatever he's happy with. If he's happy playing with Laurie and
Wendell Carter,
other Bulls players, man,
Chris
Bulls
Dunn.
have fallen off the freaking map.
Well, the Jimmy Butler trade, Zach LaVine headlined that trade. So, like, if you're really going to give up like your number one sort of asset from it with the number 7 pick with Laurie Markkanen, like it'd be pretty silly to do so. So yeah, I see him. I don't know if. I think that he might be able to get 17 or 18. He might be able to negotiate that. But there isn't a market right now. So like that's the thing. But Nicholas, the most annoying thing about this LeBron James news is that it was rumored that he would announce Space Jam 2 as part of Uninterrupted with this announcement. But he is not. But in saying that, LeBron James is a better actor than Michael Jordan. Hence, therefore... Space Jam 2 will be the greatest film of all time.
I mean, it only stands to reason.
It's fact.
I mean, if we do some quick maths here, Space Jam is currently
the best movie
of all time.
So
if you add
a
better actor...
Trainwreck.
Yeah. If you add a better actor, then it becomes the new best movie of all time.
Absolutely. Should have
And by association, LeBron James becomes the best... basketball player of all time.
Bang!
The boat.
The
best of all time.
the boat. Do we got a boat? We got anything for boats there for me? What do you got for me? Isn't it anything?
I've got
I'm interested.
Go home, science girl.
All right. All right. I'll see you later, guys. Please stick around, guys. We've got a couple more for you. But yeah, Space Jam 2. When's it going to happen? It better happen soon, LeBron.
It better happen soon.
The Hornets should trade Kemba Walker before I think Kemba Walker could be a sneaky chance to land on the Lakers in a Lonzo Ball trade. Sneaky.
That'd be good.
Sneaky.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That would skyrocket their title chances. I
Yeah.
think Kemba is a great
Underrated.
player and
All-star.
very underutilized in the shit heap that is Charlotte.
Yeah,
I'm
Dylan-
sorry, but
Yeah, Dylan Jackson.
he is better than your team.
Yeah, Dylan Jackson hosted the Rookie Report, and OTG writer believes he is already the greatest Hornet of all time. Mitch Kupchak has reported, the new GM, funnily enough, who used to be at the Lakers as GM, has reported that he does want to build around him and offer him the max. Michael Jordan, I think, has reiterated that of such. But I think that they should trade him, get Lonzo Ball, reinvigorate that franchise in a sense. I think Miles Bridges was their pick as well. Lonzo, Miles Bridges, Kaminsky, as well
Frankie.
as Willie Hernan Gomez. You've got the core there, and Michael Carter Williams is on his way out, most likely. But I think that they should trade him. I think it makes sense.
I mean, yeah, trade while the value's high.
Yeah.
And his value is as high as it's ever been. I mean, he had a great season last season.
Yeah.
Wasn't an All-Star. He was All-Star last year.
Yeah.
He's been an All-Star.
Yeah, he's an all-star player.
But he is still playing All-Star caliber ball. He's just playing on a very poor team.
Crappy.
Come on, Jack.
They are crappy.
Poor team.
Well, I've said, what have I said dickish, 5 times earlier.
They have more AIDS than Freddie Mercury.
No, okay, Nick, mate, calm down. Jesus, Mary Joseph. I'm going to see that movie, though. The biopic for Freddie Mercury looks awesome. With, what is his name? Rami Malek from Mr. Robot.
I have no idea what you...
have you not seen the trailer for...
I've seen a trailer for... but I thought that was more of like
a Freddie Mercury biopic. It's
okay.
It's a Queen Freddie Mercury. I think it's called Rhapsody.
I would see that.
It looks really good.
Rhapsody.
Bohemian
Bohemian Rhapsody.
As in Bohemian Rhapsody. I can't remember what it's called. We're turning into a movie podcast. OTG is going to be expanding soon to pop culture, so we'll see. Nikola Jokic's reported 5-year max that what I mentioned earlier in the 1 minute and 30 seconds on the table from the Nuggets is a bargain for Denver.
Bargain,
mate.
Bargain.
Tell him he's dreaming. He's in the money, though.
Oh, is he?
We're in the money.
I think he is.
Definitely. $147 million. Over $29 million per year. That's a lot of money. He's in it.
Is he worth it?
Yeah. If Andrew Wiggins is getting that
Yeah, but Andrew Wiggins isn't worth it.
True. Nikola Jokic is one of the most gifted offensive big men in the NBA. Easily the best passing big man. Is not a great defender.
You gonna win your games?
Yes.
You gonna win you playoff games? If he makes it.
yeah, absolutely. I think that he's top 5, 6 center. At least top 5 center. If you depending on what you classify as a center, like him and Joel Embiid and DeMarcus
Okay,
Cousins.
so all right. Here's a better question. He's definitely a great player. I'm not denying that. What would you rather spend your max on? Nikola Jokic or a similar talented
wing,
point guard, wing, whatever?
Well, they've already committed money to Will Barton on a 4-year, $54 million deal. Jamal Murray was set to be compensated in the future. Gary Harris, I think, is on like an $18 million a year deal. So there's a lot of money there in Denver already. But
I ask this more because I think there's a ceiling to
Nikola Jokic.
His not so much him, but his impact.
Yeah, to an extent, I guess. But offensively,
just watching him, I feel like there's only so many. There's X amount of games that he can win for you in a season. Whereas a max player in a different position, a different mentality, can win you more games.
But if this isn't a super max deal, this is a first max deal. Obviously, off his rookie contract. So to me, it's a bargain in that sense. Of the word.
If he continues to get better, then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's peaked yet. I think he can certainly improve as a defender, as a scorer as well. He flirted with triple-double on a nightly basis.
Needs to shake that dad bod, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about our centers, in terms of conditioning. I think that's the number one thing for all of them, in terms of adjusting to the pace of the modern game. But yeah, Paul Millsap next to him as well, if he can stay healthy, defensively.
Forgot about him. He was injured for so long.
He was. He played like 20 games or something. But yeah, defensively, that sort of balances out. But Nick, in some quick news, Becky Hammond is the likely successor to Coach Pop in San Antonio, following a promotion to one of the lead assistant roles at the front of the bench.
Female, what's the word? Forward action.
Female forward thinking.
Yeah, something like that.
Feminism.
Yeah.
I love it. I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, someone's got to be the first. Why not her? I mean, she's proved her stuff. I mean, I don't really get into the intricacies of coaching and. Like I don't follow coaches how closely I follow players.
We talked about Bucks.
She seems to know shit.
Yeah, we talked about that she was in the running for the Bucks job. And yeah, for me the rumor that has been making the waves for like the past couple of years is that Coach Pop will retire after the 2020 Olympics that he's set to coach, and make his way into the sunset, start hanging out with Dirk, and playing chess and buying dad jeans.
Even just from a business standpoint, it's a smart,
and she's a good coach.
She's not going to be exactly like
it's not a gimmick.
It's not like you're hiring her just because it's a gimmick.
Yeah, and San Antonio
she's actually a great coach. And it's a gimmick.
Yeah.
Well, not a gimmick, but like from a business standpoint, like you are the most progressive team in the NBA, more or less.
I mean, and
hiring the first ever female coach.
And I mean, in terms of the franchise itself, San Antonio is known for that in terms of the culture that Popovich has built over the past couple of decades. Instituting that sort of worldly culture, getting guys from Australia and all around Europe, all around the world, and sort of emphasizing the person over the player. And Becky Hammond has reaped the rewards, and all the players at San Antonio love her, and even LeBron has spoken highly of her. But we got a couple more, Nicholas. Al, with some Aussie basketball news. The best thing for the sport of basketball is the continued exposure of our local league, the NBL internationally, which will expand again this year with another year of preseason games against the NBA's best. We're going back, mate, and it's getting bigger. We're taking.
Yeah, I mean, definitely any exposure to the NBA in Australia is great. I've spoken to a few people who, I mean, I've just noticed that since doing this podcast that I can speak a bit about basketball. How many people in Australia follow the game, and then getting people into the local league as well is fantastic. Going to see basketball, you breed generations of kids who will then enjoy basketball and then want to watch the world's best basketball, you know? So obviously breeding a local league is always great for the sport. Look what A-League has done for Australian football. Granted, we're probably the worst Australian team we've had so far, but the sport is a lot more popular, is more the point. Yeah. I know people of older generations who can't stand basketball.
Yeah.
Cannot stand it. But then you've got other kids, like it's a key fundamental in sports for kids. You being a PE teacher,
it's one of the most popular and well participated sports. You're a coach as well.
I mean, I'm a kid's coach. Yeah. I mean, these kids love it. They watch the world is so connected. They can watch.
Yeah.
Like one kid watches the NBA. No problems. Whereas I couldn't have done that as a kid.
No, and Lee Ellis of the Starters, made his great points of how he sort of became a fanatic and without the access today. But we'll go through quickly the games. Melbourne United will be taking on the 76ers. These are all at the end of September. Check. We'll obviously be reporting about that. We'll probably have a podcast out to sort of discuss it a little bit further. Perth Wildcats taking on the Utah Jazz. Sydney Kings taking on the Clippers. New Zealand Breakers taking on the Phoenix Suns. Perth Wildcats taking on the Nuggets. Melbourne United again taking on the Raptors. And the Adelaide 36ers taking on the Jazz. I think that might be Joe Ingles' old team, if I'm not mistaken.
Jingles. I don't know anything about NBL. I am a shocking Australian.
Well, I know that Andrew Bogut of the Sydney Kings roasted me.
Yes, that's true. And Gaze, I think Andrew Gaze is coaching.
Yeah. So, final one, Nicholas. We already kind of did this. Dwight Howard would be a better fit on the Wizards than Boogie because, one, he wouldn't break the bank, and two, you wouldn't have to trade Otto Porter to get him. I mean, this is in comparison to DeMarcus Cousins, and I wanted to just, because to keep you engaged with the podcast, I wanted to chuck it as much.
You've got to space the Wizards content.
Yes.
If you slap it all at the start, I'm dead for the end of the podcast. I know how it works.
I'm good, mate. I know you too well.
I've picked up on those little idiosyncrasies.
Oh, I know how to do a pod.
Idiosyncrasies.
Good word.
We should have a word of the day.
We should have a word of the pod every week. Like, you know, if you can, we should have like a secret word. And if we like say it, like no,
Loud. That's our word of the day.
If you guys like, you know, send us a word that we have to say in the next podcast. Email us if you want us to say a word that, like, you know, you think is really cool, like, you know, moist.
We could put it in a challenge.
Yeah, like
how like this. Yeah, like you have to say X amount of things in.
Yeah, like cliches or puns or like, you know, give us like a word challenge.
As much Aussie slang in 2 minutes as possible. Cobber. Geezer.
Geese. But yeah, give us a word. We'll make it a word challenge. I wonder if we'll get anything from this. jbtpodcast@gmail.com, @jbtnick, @thejbtjbt.
That's if people are still listening to us 55 minutes in.
Well, they should be, because we've done some way longer podcasts than this one, and
that's true.
We've been away for a while, so the fact that we're under an hour still is not too bad.
It's impressive.
But yes, send us your favourite words. We'll try and use them as many times as we can in the podcast. Do we want to even do that?
I mean, we can do it quickly. I don't think he would necessarily be a better fit. Boogie's a better player if he can give us 25 points a game off.
And he's healthy.
And he's healthy. Then he is better than Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Like,
true that.
He would easily make up for Otto Porter, who is underutilized at the moment, personally. Yes. But that's another thing. That's Brooks. That's Ernie. Let the streets run with his blood.
Gee, is it the Purge or some shit? Wowee. They got some.
Just seeing how well the Capitals have been and how well they are run. Actually, that head coach just left, so won the Stanley Cup and then effed off. So
Steve Kerr might do the same thing eventually. Pop might do the same thing.
But yeah, that was just seeing those comparisons, how poorly we're run. Anyway, that's for a Wizards podcast. That'll never happen.
Am I doing the outro? Are you doing the outro?
Oh, you can do the outro.
All right, cool. That just about does it for another week, guys. So we'd just like to thank you all for tuning into this edition of Just Ball Things. You can catch us every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Nothing But Net Dash radio channel. As always, catch us on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you're subscribing. Give us a rating and review. Blog Talk Radio and YouTube, where I've been putting us up on YouTube now.
Yep,
so
if that's an easier platform,
it is.
To listen,
I thought that it might be convenient to some, so I will make sure I keep chucking it up on there. I'll be sharing the links on our Facebook and the rest. Speaking of, do us a solid, leave us a rating and review. Help us out a bunch. You can contact us on Twitter. At the JManJBT is me. At JBTNick is Nicholas. You should also hit up where I work, where I'm a big contributor, at OTG Basketball, where you can read some awesome NBA articles written by me. I've had a couple out. I'm also on a heap of the pods, Brooklyn Buzz, the NBA Outlet. We're part of that network. It's growing. I think we're up to like 10 podcasts now. It's, you know, getting crazy. We got Facebook, so just search Just Ball Things. You'll find us. You hit us up on email. Those words, we want to hear those words. Where we'll read them. You know, we'll read them. We'll do your challenges. Tell us whatever. We don't really care. We just like.
We just do.
Human interaction pleases us. We don't get it other than between each other. Remember, it's you guys who make the show great, so we appreciate any and every post heading our way. So until next week,
keep on.